I think first we have to understand what the pattern is, right? And I think the pattern is that the shit that's being posted is the same thing everybody else is posting. That pattern, right?
Tristan and Jeff's daily moisturizer routine. That is a joke. Well, it was a perceived joke on a text thread when we were texting this past weekend saying, "Hey, what's our topic for an upcoming coaching call?" And I said that. And then Tristan's like, "That's a good one, actually." And then I realized, you know what? He's right because we can use it as what I would call pattern interrupt. And that is going to be one of our topics for today's podcast because, Tristan, we're going to test this as the title to an upcoming coaching call just to see if it gets people's attention and gets them to show up. So stay tuned to see if it actually works. But if you know Tristan and I, our daily moisturizer routine. I mean, my my wife actually is she's going to school for being an esthetician. She's comes from the beauty salon background. So we actually do have like she tries to get me to use good moisturizers and all that kind of stuff. Um, but I don't actually have a routine, and I don't think you do either, but I could be wrong.
I don't have, dude, I wake up and I'm like, it looks good, and that's it. Or,
Well,
oh shit, it looks bad.
based on the way your mother looks, I think genetics is running well in your family. Unless, or she's got a really good skincare routine. One of the two. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm not sure about that one. We should have interviewed her.
Well, I think the bigger point is understanding what that means. Pattern interrupt. And Tristan, I think that most of our listeners, the all three of them, um, but just social media marketers, business owners, we fall into the category of kind of copycat stuff, monkey see, monkey do. And we do a really poor job of creating content that kind of disrupts or interrupts what somebody's doing, which is what gets their attention, right? That's why a great hook matters. But understanding pattern interrupt, understanding that you can't just monkey see, monkey do and copycat everybody else and think it's going to work because it's not, because it becomes too diluted. I'd love to get your thoughts on just that, just the general phrase, words of pattern interrupt as it relates to social media.
Well, I think first we have to understand what the pattern is, right? And I think the pattern is that the shit that's being posted is the same thing everybody else is posting. That pattern, right? This is why sometimes our stuff even sometimes it doesn't get any views, right? Because we're just kind of just going through the regular routines. And I think even me going through and taking a look, it's like, what's a pattern interrupt outside of for me because I do a lot of news outside of a crazy thing happening like today, Rocket announcing they're going to purchase Redfin. That's its own pattern interrupt. I got lucky,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Outside of that, how do I do it? Right? What do I look for? And that's where I have to then study and take a look at, well, what's happening normally on social and how do I go against the grain? And you poke the bear a lot, right? Trying to do that, trying to find that pattern interrupt. And then you see it pay off really well sometimes because you're
Hmm.
testing things out, right? You and I were laughing at a great post yesterday that I sent you, where this oversized guy is wearing really tight clothing on, we assume it's on purpose, right? But the comments were hilarious and the post blew the crap up. I think he's a real estate agent or something in
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
And and we're thinking, damn, he didn't even have to say anything. He just had to show up that way. That's a pattern interrupt. Do things that really stand out in people's eyes based on what's not happening on social. That I think is where we would start with a pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
And what do you think, man?
Well, I agree. I just posted something about this last week too, talking about it because and the way I articulated it is I will take criticism and I deal with this literally on a weekly basis, even with some of our clients, which is being afraid or saying things like that music wouldn't appeal to my audience, or oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you did that. And the way I articulated it in my video was, this isn't 1990s marketing anymore. We are in a world where social media now dominates, and it's not about what you can expect, it's about what you unexpect, in my opinion. And that is what works. That is the new evolution of marketing. It's just the way it is. If you want traditional marketing, go slap your logo and your face on a billboard. That's traditional marketing, and let me know how that works. Go slap your ad in a magazine. Go do a traditional form of marketing, or go to television. It's even so, what I tell people all the time, Tristan, is like, even on social, it's if your content is overproduced, like a TV commercial, it's not going to perform. Audiences have become numb to that. They expect that on television. They don't want that on social. And even you and I have talked about this over the years. Television commercials have gone more TikTok-y, which is what? A pattern
That's so
interrupt.
true, man. That's so true.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. I mean, and I'll give you a perfect example, because I know they're not listening to this podcast. But I've got a new boat salesman, who's going to hire me to help him. Basically, here's how it happened. He reached out to me, said, "I like your style. I know you can help me. I want to hire you." And uh, the announcement post on my channels uh, used a song from TikTok, like some mix up, mashup song on TikTok, which I love TikTok's music, by the way. But it was like, "Move, bitch, get out the way." And then
Yeah.
there was a lot of cussing in the song. And
Hmm.
the I don't know, his manager, somebody at his store said, "If this is what this guy's going to post, you're not hiring him." And because that's not our audience's, genre of music. And, I wasn't going to argue with the guy, and I respected what he said, but I also told him, I said, "Dude, I'm 47 years old. I am your target audience. I have got a lot of millionaire friends with big ass boats that literally own the boat you sell. And I'm telling you right now, I want your manager to come out and cove with me on some weekend and listen to the music that they're playing on their boat, because he's clearly antiquated and old." Now, I didn't say all this, not in that way, but I was thinking it like, dude, you're so out of touch. Like, I'm not gonna go and piss you off right out of the gate. I'll give you what you want, but it's like, come on, people. And I got another client. I started to go on this tangent right now, but I think people need to hear this. It's a real estate agent friend, and there's a hotel here that's marijuana friendly. And they host events around marijuana. And so, as a hook to my video, I had a marijuana pipe, and I pretended like I was lighting it. It actually got taken down on TikTok, wouldn't allow it, but Instagram and Facebook and everybody else did. And I remember the real estate agent telling me, "Oh God, like, oh, you can't do that." I'm like, "You fucking kidding me? Like, weed is legal. Like, it's not like I'm doing something illegal here." First of all, I wasn't smoking it. I was just purely, what was I doing, Tristan? Pattern interrupt. What the hell? I gotta watch this, right?
Yeah.
And
Boom.
if you're
I'll watch
if
it.
you're if you're so afraid to do that shit,
Hmm.
that's you listening to us right now. If you're afraid to disrupt, all I can tell you is good luck. Good luck with your marketing efforts, because you're gonna have a hard time.
That's true.
That's the
That's
end of my
true.
rant. It's the end of my rant.
That's a good, it's a good rant, buddy. Um, I think then it comes down to, why don't agents take that step forward? What's holding them back?
Fear. Fear of what people will think. Like the manager for the boat dealer. Fear. Fear that his audience would be offended.
Mm.
Um, and I think there's a fine line.
I was about to say that there is.
I think that if you really truly want to grow, you've got to throw the line out the window. If your goal is really just more maintenance, maintaining, staying top of mind with your audience, but you're not necessarily worried about growth, then you probably need to stay in a line. You probably need to stay a little bit more inside of the box, right? But if your true goal is growth, I mean, go talk to an Austin Armstrong, go talk to a London Lazarson, go talk to a massive influencer, and they're going to tell you if you stay inside of a box, you will never grow. Growth won't happen. Um, and I think you're a great unique example of this because I wouldn't say you're necessarily controversial, but you know what you do
I
that
do
I
do.
think
What do I do do?
you know what you do what you
What
do.
do I do do?
You tell people, and you do this frequently. Like you just posted one. Like I forgot exactly what the text was, but it's like something to the effect of, "If you keep doing this, like you're the problem." Kind of thing, or you're,
Oh, yeah.
and you're not afraid to tell people what they need to hear. And you do that again, you do it all the time. So I guess really you are a disruptor in that regard because you're not afraid to tell people what they need to hear. And most people are afraid to say that for the fear that they will offend someone.
Yeah, I think you and I believe in the things that we're pushing the needle on and being different on and doing the pattern interrupt on. We believe in it enough that it doesn't matter because we actually believe enough in it. So that
Yeah.
if people come back and say, but, we're like, yeah, well, that's actually what we believe, right?
Yeah. And that's a great point. I'm glad you said that because I don't believe in pushing the needle for the sake of pushing the needle. You're right. Push the needle on things that you would back up. A great example was what I just described for you. Also for me, remember the boat crash last year, and I
Yeah.
called the guy an idiot, which a lot of people gave me criticism. That's harsh. And I said, man, if that was me, I'm an idiot. If that was my brother, I call him an idiot. If that's my dad, he's an idiot. Like the circumstances by which that happened, that person is an idiot, and I stand by what I say.
100%.
Harsh words, sure, maybe I could use worse, but I think you got to have a little harshness in order to get people's attention, and that's
I mean, you've got to be a lot more free with yourself in order to express how it is that you really feel and where you stand. Because that's what really people are looking for, right? And what's up, Brian? Forgot to say hi to Brian. I think that's what I'm scared of sometimes. I'm like, did I just toe the line? Did I go past the line? Right? Did I just ruin my brand? Right? I think that's what your people are thinking. If I use that song, is it going to be outside of my brand, outside of our culture, right? And if it is great, then you know what? Let's go find a different way to poke the bear, right?
yeah, yeah,
But I have that concern sometimes. But definitely telling people that they're wrong and that they're idiots is not one of my concerns. I tell them all
yeah.
the time. So
Well, and the funny thing is that what you just said, and I've called people out on this before, is, and if that particular individual, again, I'd walk a fine line because I don't want to lose a client, but if that person says to me that's not on brand, my question would be for him, so what is your brand? Tell me.
yeah.
Tell me, what is your social media brand? And he's probably going to be at a loss for words because he doesn't have one. And so it's like, so you're
Or
telling me that's not on brand, but you don't have a brand? I mean,
or you help them. Or you help them
yeah,
discover the brand right there in that conversation. You're like, well, it's easier for brands, for people, for agents to think through and say, well, I don't want to appear like this. I don't want to. I don't want to. Great. We just reversed into it. That's your brand. All the things you don't want to do. Now you have the ability to show up how you can, right?
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the speed tour guy. We've talked about this before. I posted that once, and I think my audience tends to run more in the our generation, Gen X, baby boomer,
Yeah.
and most of the feedback was they can't stand his content.
Really?
Yeah,
The speed tour guy?
yeah, yeah, which I love. And
I love his content too.
now, I mean, we're talking like a smattering of probably 10 to 20 people that said this, but I think that's because actually Brian, for example, was one of the commenters. Can't stand it. It's annoying. And I teased Brian back by saying, "Tell me you're getting old without telling me you're getting old." And
Brian.
but that's the reality. It's like what we don't understand it might annoy us, which is a sign that we're kind of getting old because we're not hip with the times. That kid's hip with the times. I'll give you another perfect example, and I'm starting to do this. I had another agent just reach out to me this past week and said, "Hey, I got a $4 million listing. Will you do a video for me?" And I looked at the pictures, and the house for 4 million bucks, it's like very, I called it fancy. Like the decor is not modern at all. And so I told him, I'm going to tell you exactly what my reply was. I said, "That's a fancy looking decor in that house. I could probably have some fun with that one, but it might get butchered in the comments, but it could get a lot of attention." And he responds and says he's down for it. I said, "I just want to confirm because my style can rub traditionalists the wrong way. I said it's why I have a big following, but a lot of people just don't get it." I said, in other words, I'm gonna have some fun with this. Like, I'm not just gonna walk through and like, look at this beautiful architect. No, I'm gonna fuck with it, right? Like, that's what I'm gonna do. And he says he's there for it, but we'll see. I'm kind of setting the tone with people now. I'm like, you got to know that if you want me to do something, I'm gonna do it my way. If you want it on my channels, I'm doing it my way. If you want it to be professional, I'll do that for you, but I'm not posting that shit because that's what it is. Shit.
Yeah. Good point, buddy. Good point.
Interesting topic that sent me down a rabbit hole today. Sorry.
Well, I think it's important, man. All right. So, just to recap, just test shit out. You won't know if it's going to work. I think a lot of you are stuck doing the exact same thing and you're wondering why you're getting the exact same results. I think as you're scrolling through, get inspired and say, I think I can do that. Let's test this out. Right. And a lot of us aren't doing that enough. I'm testing out storytelling in a different fashion because I watched one blow up. I was like, oh, I could do story time here. Interesting. So
Which one? Which post?
um, it was the one about how somebody, this couple purchased a home and they paid it off, and then they didn't realize that they would still have bills and other things on top of that. And I was like, but I told it in a story fashion, kind of like, hey, look at these two couples, right? Blah, blah, blah. Check this out. They bought it and they thought of, and I was like, interesting. You watch those videos, those story videos. Meet Joe. Joe's been living here forever, like that type of shit. I was like, oh, I guess I could do that in real estate.
100%. No, no, very few agents are doing this consistently, man. If you could figure out a cadence to do this once a week,
Yeah, and it does, you're right. It doesn't require a lot, just like one time
yeah,
a week.
yeah, yeah.
52 videos, people will listen in on the story time. I'm like,
You know who's doing an absolutely incredible job? I'm interviewing him tomorrow on Real Estate Mastery. Zach Faust.
mm,
Dude,
mm,
his content is so good. And it's all very real estate centric. And you know what's funny? Because I was just talking to him last week. He's an influencer. He's got a lot of followers. Yet,
mm,
you know what he told me? He is
mm.
getting more real estate deals, leads, etc. from YouTube, where he only, I say this loosely, he only has 2,400 subs, which does seem like a low amount for Zach, because Zach is hundreds of thousands, millions of followers across short form platforms. He's only got 2,400 subs, and he says YouTube yields the most deals. And I think he gave me a number. It was like 80 deals last year from social media.
No way.
Yeah. I'm gonna find out the number again, but he
Find
just
out how
told me
many
this.
he got
YouTube
from
specifically.
YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at his YouTube
It's
videos
the
now.
Delaware one. Yeah.
He's got Zachary Loft. Is that the one or a different YouTube?
No, living in Delaware.
Living in Delaware. Well, if I could spell Delaware, it would help.
It's a
Zach.
small state. It's kind of forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Living in Delaware. Subscribing, 2,400 followers.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. He
Yeah,
shoots.
and you look at his content, like 500 views, 200 views, 374, 360. Like he's not blowing up, but yet it's yielding. Like that's the point. We get so caught up in the analytics and numbers, but it
Yeah, I'm
doesn't
looking at this.
necessarily it doesn't matter.
Huh. Interesting, man. All right,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that interview.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I got today.
Same. I'm gonna go create some content that's gonna piss somebody off. Might as well.
Perfect. Have some fun. I'll do the same. Have a great day.
See you, buddy.
Uh,